Some legends leave Old Trafford one way or another, with their legacy woven into the fabric of the club. However, some depart from Old Trafford despite not reaching their potential, but still bestowing a legacy on the era they played under. One such man was striker Tommy Taylor, who was the 5th top United scorer of all time at just 26 when he was cruelly taken from us. So raise your glasses to a United great who could have been greater still. Thomas Taylor was born in Smithies near Barnsley in Yorkshire on the 29th of January 1932, one of 6 born to Charles and Violet Taylor. Young Tommy, who became a miner after his school life had ended, began playing for a team at the colliery. So precocious were his talents, he signed for Barnsley, aged just 17. Tommy made his Tykes debut at just 18 on the 7th of October 1950 in a 3-1 home victory over Grimsby. In his next game he netted a hat-trick against QPR and scored 7 in 12 fixtures over the 1950-51 season. The Yorkshireman's talents had caught Busby's eye, and with Barnsley unable to break the second division glass ceiling, his 28 goals in 46 matches meant that he was going to be open to bigger and better things. United were champions in 1952, but Busby knew that the days of Rowley and Pearson leading the line were numbered, and secured the 21-year-old Taylor's signature for £29,999, taking the pressure off by ensuring that he was not the first £30,000 player. Tommy was known to be powerfully potent in the air, using his 6-foot-plus frame to devastating effect. His timing was outstanding. However, he was also good with his feet, known to be 2-footed and lightning quick. He had vision and was brave and athletic. He would not stop running until the final whistle blew. As a centre-forward, his greatest foil for scoring and creating goals was Dennis Violet, with the diminutive Mancunian, sharp and quick to react, feeding off the balls headed down by Tommy into his hunting patch. Tommy wasn't a typical centre-forward of the day like Tommy Lawton or Nat Lofthouse. He often drifted wide to draw defenders away, created acres of space for his fellow forwards, and could provide a killer ball into the box when necessary. At Old Trafford, Tommy entered into a side in transition, as Busby revolutionised not just United's team, but English football as a whole, giving youth a chance. Over the next few years, United struggled to try to incorporate Edwards, Pegg, Fulks, Violet, Whelan and the rest, all kids really, to replace the seasoned pros in a version of the game that was a lot more physically demanding than it is today. Tommy made his debut against Preston North End on the 7th of March 1953 and scored a brace in a 5-2 victory. However, the side only came 8th by the end of the season, despite Tommy scoring 10-11 appearances. His games were limited though due to a long time out because of a serious knee injury. The following season United showed some progress as we finished 4th, albeit a hefty 9 points back from champions Wolves. Tommy contributed 23 goals that campaign. Both legendary United forwards Stan Pearson and Jack Rowley finally left the club midway through the 54-55 season, which saw even more blooding of the club's youth prospects, allowing Tommy to build up a partnership with the aforementioned Dennis Violet, albeit Johnny Berry, Billy Whelan, Albert Scanlon and others were also part of this new guard of attacking players. Chelsea were champions that season, but United were just 5 points off the pace this time around, and momentum was building. With all his goals and attributes, Tommy earned England recognition and was seen as the perfect replacement for Bolton's Nat Lofthouse. Tommy made his debut against Argentina in May 1953. He scored in the next game against Chile in the South American tour and would go on to hit the back of the net 16 times in just 19 appearances, which included 2 hat-tricks. Further, in the lead-up to the 1958 World Cup finals, England played Brazil at Wembley, winning 4-2 with Taylor netting a brace. 2 years later, Pele's Brazil were world champions in Sweden. England, without its spine from United, turned out to be also-rans. Into the 1955-56 United campaign and everything clicked for the Busby Babes. The combination of youth and experience finally paid off with silverware, as the Red Devils took the title by a massive 11 points from Blackpool and Wolves. Taylor enjoyed his greatest haul to date, 25 strikes in 34 games over all competitions. There was even more success the following season. Tommy played in United's European Cup debut, the first match by any English side, and scored in Belgium against Anderlecht. In the return, it was even better as Tommy scored a hat-trick in a club record 10-0 triumph, although Dennis Violet bettered his tally with 4 strikes. Their goals would take the club to the semi-finals in their maiden European season, before going out to Real Madrid. Domestically, Taylor's United still dominated, his 22 goals securing a successful back-to-back league title defence over second-place Spurs. In all, he had the most fruitful season he'd ever get, 34 strikes in 45 matches. Further, United made it to the cup final, but came up short against Villa, who denied them being the first club that century to achieve the double. This goal from Taylor late on, giving the boys some forlorn hope. In the following campaign, by February 1958, Tommy had scored 22 times in 34 matches. Behind in the league to Wolves, United still had a chance of making that difference back, and were also in the FA Cup, and had made it to the European Cup quarter-finals versus Red Star Belgrade. After winning the first leg 2-1 at Old Trafford, Tommy and the boys travelled behind the Iron Curtain and played out a 3-3 draw on the 5th of February, sending them through. Returning home triumphantly, their plane stopped off in Munich in deteriorating conditions. After 2 failed attempts, the passengers got back on the plane for a third time. With the ice built up on the runway and not properly cleared, the plane skidded and couldn't reach takeoff velocity. It crashed through a fence and into a house at the back of the runway, breaking into 2 parts. Tommy was killed instantly, along with teammates captain Roger Byrne, Eddie Coleman, Jeff Bent, Liam Whelan, David Pegg and Mark Jones, with Duncan Edwards succumbing to his injuries some weeks later. We didn't just lose Tommy that day. The disaster ripped the heart out of the club and the England national team. It took both 5 to 10 years to fully recover, and even then there were always the questions of what might have been, and surely silverware for Tommy's club and country were dashed in the meantime. Tommy Taylor scored 131 times in 191 matches at a club record of .686 goals a game. He is currently 16th in our all-time scorers charts. He had also become recently engaged to his fiancée Carol when he died, and is buried in Monk Bretton Cemetery in his hometown of Barnsley. Tommy received a plaque in July 2011, put up at his old digs in Stretford to commemorate his contribution to the club, and unveiled here by his former school friend, cricketing umpire Dickie Bird, alongside Sir Bobby Charlton. So that was the life and career of Tommy Taylor, United goal-scoring legend. What did you make of him, and what does he mean to you? Write your thoughts in the comments below and like, share, and if you haven't already, please subscribe. Thank you as always for your support.